Well, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, if you're where I am. And welcome to the Studio Rats Live. I can't remember the number because I'm not in front of my computer.
147.
147. My name's James Ivy.
I'm Paul Drew.
And I'm not Paul Drew, even though I look very similar to him.
You are all very welcome along. I will not be here for long because, as you can see, I am in the car for a start. I'm in my lovely rental car, just outside John Wayne International Airport in Orange County, California, waiting for my cameraman. But I thought I would at least chime in and say hello, everyone, from the other side of the world. Or if you're one of the people from the other side of the world, the same side of the world.
It's very good.
Shall we? Okay, the question is, are you going to get back in time for the rest of the show or not? Do you think you won't?
The honest answer is I don't know. Traffic has not been great this morning.
Okay.
California freeway traffic is at best dire. London puts it to shame, unfortunately. But hey, but yeah. So I thought I'd at least come in and say hello to everyone. Preparations for the NAMM show. Expect the NAMM show special on Saturday evening. That's Saturday evening, here time. So unfortunately, it's going to be about 11 o'clock on Saturday night for the UK. But I'm hoping I've spoken to the good media people at NAMM, and they've said we can basically have their kind of mini stage thing. So hopefully we can do Q&A live with an actual audience.
Terrific. Yeah,
which could be very, very cool.
Nice.
I'll work out the logistics of that in the next couple of days when I actually speak to people, and then obviously I will build the session, so we'll put it out on all the normal platforms. But yeah, that's going to be very exciting, I think.
Nice work, James. Nice work.
Awesome.
Go on, fly the flag.
Because you're late. You get back to what you're. Yeah. You get back to what you're doing. We'll go on to what we're doing then. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, have a good one, chaps, and I'll see you very, very soon. Take care, everyone, and have a good show.
Take care. Bye-bye. Have a good time. He's gone. Right. You're right. How's it going?
I'm all right. Thank you, brother. How are you?
Yeah, good. See, there's no latency now. We're not talking over each other. It's perfect. We haven't got the shouty. Everything's working. Right. So
everything's good.
Yeah. What have you been up to then?
It's been quite busy this week in Gearland. I took our daughters to see my parents this week. Paul and I were having a bit of a chat yesterday on the way up, which took pretty much 200% of the time that the journey should have taken. And then on the way back down today, it was smooth as you like, beautiful, until the last hour, when child number one decided that she needed a wee literally every 20 minutes for the last hour. So we added an hour to the journey in order to get back. So we got back in, threw all the luggage in the front room. The better half has sorted all that out, got them sorted. I've thrown tea together rather. Just got them in bed in time for me to join on the live stream, literally minutes after I have ordered one of the bits of news, or a unit of one of the bits of news from later. The expensive one. Yeah, done a bit of that. I have been enjoying the warm glow of releasing my first YouTube video into the world and getting some lovely feedback from some of the Rats clan. So thank you in advance for that. And thinking about where the next bit's going to go, and preparing myself to run a cheerleading event this coming weekend here in the UK, whilst Jivey is he over that way or that way? That way is east, so he's that way. He's west. Yeah, or down there as he was a minute ago. He's over in the US of A, and so I'm going to run a cheerleading event in Milton Keynes at the Marshall Arena, literally over the road from the Marshall Amplification Factory. I'm going there on Friday, and all is well. All is well. There we go. What about yourself, Paul? What have you done to, my friend?
Nice. So, hold on, before we don't want to gloss over. Your video. We don't gloss over your video. So we need to remind people a little bit later on. So Greg has started up his own YouTube channel called Adventures in Gearland, as you can see. At some point, go and check it out. Go and subscribe. Go and watch his content. He's done one video so far, but there's plenty more to come.
Allow me to jump in. Mendel Rocks is obviously a person of exceptionally high intellect on a number of counts. Not only have they been logged on here, they've also subscribed while listening to you and I prattle on like a pair of bald idiots. So well done, Mendel, and thank you very much indeed. I just got a little update saying I've got a new subscriber from Mendel.
Look at that. Look at that. Let's start with some comments, some questions and stuff. Yes. So Musical Dreamweaver says, last time you checked out my guitar in my profile picture, I was ready to watch the show, but a friend of mine lured me away to go and lift weights. Why did you want to do that? Why would you go and do that?
Let's have a look. That looks like
what is it?
A John Mayer look-alike to me. Well, I mean, just in general, the entire thumbnail looks like it's. I'd go out of a weekend and pretend to be John Mayer by being a bit of a hunk with a Strat-shaped instrument.
Let's have a look. It says it's a Jap Charvel. SoCal. Oh, nice. It's modified to have a DiMarzio air zone in the neck and a tone zone in the bridge. I also added a tone pot and a 3-way toggle surpass split. Proper modded.
Parallel and split. That sounds feisty. Have you got any footage of it anywhere, Music of Dreamweaver, which we can experience all of these delightful mods that you've done? I'd be really interested to hear that, for a number of reasons, not least, and I'm sure we'll get to it later on, the most recent video that the guys released of Paul playing a guitar that costs the same as a pickup from a Sir in its entirety. So I am once again getting very gassy about an S-shaped instrument, other than that one that I showed last week, that my old Encore thing. That being set up for OpenSea. What I really want is just a classic S-style instrument, and reading that about having all of those wonderful variations on a theme gets me a bit fizzy, frankly.
Well, do you know what? The thing about that, what make was it? What make is that guitar? The one I did with Lee? Jet. No, the Jet. Think about the Jet guitar. Everything's I love everything about that guitar. I think Lee's on somewhere. Oh, there he is. Everything about it apart from the logo on the headstock, which just looks a little bit.
It looks a bit graffiti, doesn't it?
They could have done. Yeah, and that's not good. But
there again, just scratch it off and put something else on.
Yeah.
Just put. I'm quite tempted to just get a name on it, but yeah, there we go. Anyway, look, we digress. What else have you been up to this week? What have you managed to get to a point where you can do work in your new studio room?
Oh yeah. So Lee was over. Lee over. Lee Abraham, who's friend of the show. Lee came over.
And an all-round good egg, I might add.
Yeah, good egg. We did a couple of videos. One with so he brought over his Laney Ironheart pedal. What's the pedal called? Something I forgot what it's called. Yeah, the Lionheart pedal. Not a patch on the amplifier.
Right.
So Lee was taking it back to the shop where he bought it from.
Oh,
so that video becomes. Need to edit that. There's a product video. There's a new product released tomorrow, so I've got a video coming out for that. But maybe early next week, Lee's pedal video come out.
Just before we jump on from there, I think there's some mileage in that for comments and questions. Lee has purchased a pedal form of an amplifier that you and James have got on the record as saying this thing is blooming marvelous. He's got a pedal and got, it's all right, it's nothing special, and it's going back to the shop. Has anybody ever got a pedal version of an amplifier that they thought, yeah, brilliant, I'm keeping it. The amp can jog on. I'll get rid of that instead. I'd love to hear someone, give us the alternative. Well, I've never heard of it.
The only thing that I can think of is the Blue Guitar Amp 1, but it's not of an amplifier. It's its own thing.
Yeah, it's his own thing. Related, just before I jumped on here, I was watching Thomas and his right-hand man doing their own live stream concurrently with ours from that place that Jivey is at. hoping that they would give us a few little tips.
Oh, is he? Oh, great.
Yeah, about the X version of that thing. And I watched it on like 1.5 playback speed, hoping to get something useful before I came back on here. And sadly, it just went back into normal speed, and they were just constantly kind of teasing it on. So I wonder if they were concerned about you and James giving the game away to your 60,000 people around the world before he did it himself.
Maybe. Daniel Early says, "Good evening, Rats. It's a beautiful day in the North Carolina neighborhood. 26 degrees and sunny. Lovely. We've
Beautiful.
had absolute pissing down rain here. It's just been. It's
on the for you American people, the highways, and for the rest of us, the motorways. On the way back from the north of England today, at one stage I had the cruise control set at 20 miles an hour, just by virtue of the hailstorm that I was driving through, and I stopped the tunes on the stereo because we couldn't hear it from the sound of these lumps of ice landing on the car. It was crazy. So yeah, been through all manner of the opposite of you there, Daniel. Now, what guitar is that? Nashville.
Daniel has told us before. I can't remember what it is.
Right, I'll apologise for not taking enough notice when I haven't been filling James or Paul's seat, and we'll move on then.
Unbelievable. Right, Mississippi Blues, evening all, evening Mississippi Blues, and Lee says evening. It's pissing down. There he is. Yeah. So Lee lives about, I guess, 15 miles from me. Yeah, that's why I moved down there, to be honest, because of Lee.
Just get closer to Lee. Get closer to Lee and all his toys.
Yeah.
Not like that. Just get your minds out of the gutter.
Mississippi Blues, same here in Kent. Tone Dragon. What's he got there?
What's happening there?
This afternoon, gents. The Meris LVX I ordered last week should be here today.
Nice. Right. Just, I'm interested, Tone Dragon. What gear have you purchased before that you've thought that's a step change? I don't want to use game changer because Jarvie gets a bit twitchy about using that phrase. But what was the last piece of gear that you bought that you thought, yeah, I've leveled up there? Because by all accounts, one of those LVXs is okay. I've just really offended my bank account now because everything that I get in future is going to be frighteningly expensive.
What? How much is an LVX?
I think we're looking close on 4 figures in the UK. Do you want to carry on, and I will search the internet to find out.
Mississippi Blue says, like that jet guitar at Lee.
Yeah, I was serious. I was a bit tipsy when I watched that video that you lads did, and I almost just pressed the button without thinking twice. Because for that price,
yes, it's so cheap. It's great. I can't believe it's that price. Pet says, "Is that Barry Manilow below?" He was talking about James. He does look a bit Barry Manilow today. I think he's in the sunshine. Got that sort of Turkish tan going on.
Very good, Pet. That's very good.
Shahab
talking out of turn. Sorry, the Meris LVX in the UK is £649, which is still quite a lot of cash, but it is a wondrous thing, isn't it? There's some. I don't want to, be terrible, but I think we should just accept that the JHS YouTube channel is a very good source of information. The little drummer dude and the bass player guy that has recently left. They did a kind of first look at that thing, and it just sounds immense. Anyway, there we are. Shahar, good evening.
Shahar says, James, just don't drive on the wrong side.
Yeah, he said to us just before we came on air, actually, that at 3 o'clock this morning, his time, not UK time, he just went, ha, morning. So hopefully he doesn't forget that because he's getting nicely into his day now.
Ned, good evening. I hope you had a good day, week, etc. Have fun, James. There we go.
Hello,
hi, Ned. Mendel, good evening and good morning. He says, Shep, evening all. I see UA have been at it again. They sure have. Talk about that a bit later on.
We'll come to that in a bit. Yeah.
Pet, evening everyone from sunny Wales. Oh, it's nice. It's
sunny over there, Pet?
It's never sunny. Oh, come, Pet's lying.
No, there have been days where I have been sunburnt in Wales. I'm going to stand up for Pet and his brethren there. Yeah, when I was a child and we used to go holiday in Shell Island up near Harlech Castle, and also in recent months and years when I've been working over in Wales. The sun does shine in Wales, contrary to popular belief on this side of the border.
Nice. Funky Bass, great song with California in the name. Open to everyone in Jiver's honour. Nice.
Californication, Chili Peppers.
David
California Dreaming. Missed the obvious one.
That'll do it. David says, James, right side of the road. Head to Venice, Santa Monica, ASAP. Have fun. Cheers. Do you know Venice? I always remember I've been to Venice a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Look, crackheads, isn't it? And smackheads.
I don't know. The last time I set foot in California, I wasn't even old enough to go to school, let alone to have grown-up kinds of fun. So I couldn't tell you. Is Venice / Santa Monica where rainbow flags are prevalent? Is that what David's trying to say to us and James?
I don't know. Possibly. Safety
I don't want to be horrible. All are welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Safety in the house. Hi, Safety. Mississippi Blues. Going to California, Led Zepp. There we go.
Nice. Well batted.
Lee says, Rabea is now a Music Man artist.
There we go.
It was coming. Yeah, it's just come on. I mean, the whole thing was just.
Yeah.
I find it a bit weird that, like I understand he can't say something, but he basically was lying, saying, it's just, like there's nothing else happening. There's nothing else happening. I mean, it's just a lie. Just say there's something else happening, but I can't talk about it at the moment. That's all. That's all he had to do. I mean, good on him. He deserves that. He's a fantastic guitar player. Has he got? Is that his new guitar?
Uh-huh.
I mean, he deserves it. He's
astonishing, isn't he? I was listening to him on the way back home today, and he just sounds like the lovely bits of Nuno, and
that's a Petrucci.
It's not. It's a Rabea.
That's a Petrucci.
Okay. My new guitar. Oh yeah, sorry, you're right. Apologies. Hang on. Right, Google's sending me on apologies. The internet.
Oh well. And anyway, so he hasn't got. So he's an artist. He hasn't got like a signature model, but he deserves it. He's fantastic. It's just a little bit weird. And if you had the choice, if you had the choice of a Chapman or a Music Man, you probably go for the Music Man.
Think twice. Well, actually, I would think twice. I like the idea of supporting a UK based builder.
Yeah,
that appeals to me. But by the same token, from the outside looking in, rather than any sort of industry inside knowledge, of which I have none, I'm just looking at the soap opera that is Chapman Guitars, it seems. And I wouldn't necessarily, if I had a brand the size and credibility of Rabea's, want to be closely associated with it. Because if you think about Lee Anderton, he's made reference to a variety of different brands that he's been part of, sort of groups of. We're gonna launch this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna get this one back off the ground, and some of them he mentions, and nothing is heard of again. And because he's just a terrifically astute fellow, isn't he, Lee? I wonder if Rabea was thinking, I'm a bit too close to the kind of the flying fruit here. It's a bit of a bun fight, and I don't necessarily think it looks great for my brand. Whereas Music Man, who is the first person you think of artist-wise when you hear the word Music Man? I don't think John Petrucci. I still think EVH. And I know that he did his own thing.
No, I don't think EVH. I don't think EVH at all. I think probably Steve Lukather.
Right. Well, yeah, there you go. So titans of the guitar world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, fantastic, fantastic build.
Jump on that train. Good on you, Rabea. I think he's a wonderful player. Listening to the, we've already made mention of the UA stuff this evening. His demo of that, I listened to it twice. I thought the sounds that he creates, they're marvelous.
Oh no, he's brilliant. He's proper creative. He's a fantastic guitar, but he's brilliant. He's really he deserves it.
Yeah. And he's from the north as well, so he's a good egg all round.
Is he from North? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm sure he's from Leeds. There's footage of him as a lad in his first gig getting really annoyed doing a Lenny Kravitz solo, and he's obviously just irritated by either his own performance or the rest of the band around him. And he was on some stage in Leeds.
Right.
Yeah, he's a good northern soul.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maestro One says, "Evening, everyone."
Hello, Maestro.
Hello, Maestro One. Chris says, "Good evening, guys." Evening, Chris.
Evening, Chris.
Here he is. He's back. He's back again. Location recordings. Have a good one, boys. We'll see you Saturday evening for Studio Rats live.
Now, he was talking to us about it before we went live. What? Oh, thanks, Farad. What time did he say that the Saturday night one is going to be in America and by extension the UK?
I haven't got a clue. I don't know what I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows. I mean, I don't even know. I've got a family thing on Saturday, but I'll try and obviously.
I think he said something like it's about noon-ish in Anaheim.
Right.
So it's going to be the middle of the night in.
No, noon in Anaheim is
8 o'clock in the evening here. Oh right, well that'd be perfect then, wouldn't it? Okay. So yeah, just keep your eyes out. The boys will put a thumbnail up and set your notifications, because that'll keep the YouTube algorithm monkeys happy as well. And when James steals the show, you'll have Richie Coates and Steve Vai and Guthrie Govan and all these other people just going, yeah, I don't want to perform now because the Studio Rats live stream's happening. So we'll come back in an hour.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
everything
we'll all get
shuts
involved
down.
with that, right? Yeah, that's it.
Everything will shut down. Right, Farid. Evening, guys. Enjoyed the jet guitar video. Cheers, Farid. Have subscribed to Adventures in Gearland.
Thank you, Farid. Appreciate it. More to come there.
AIG. You can have that.
AIG. Oh, AIG. AIG. Well, there's an insurance company that are quite closely affiliated to Manchester United, called AIG, because my first thought was to just have a YouTube handle of AIG rather than Adventures in Gearland. But sadly, they got there about 30 years ago, it seems. Damn them.
It's a good name. It's a good name. Adventures in Gearland is a good name, if I could say it properly.
Well, it can go anywhere. It can go anywhere. We'll come back to the jet guitar thing, and let's get through all the hellos. I realise that I'm prattling on. It's because I've predominantly just had a conversation with children under the age of 10 for the last 5 hours, and I'm quite enthusiastic to interact with adults for a bit. There we go. Right, what's Ned saying?
Ned says, I spontaneously ordered the Walrus SLO reverb today. Despite insecure financial times in society, it was used. I figure I can get my money back when I sell it. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's the best thing to do. Buy gear secondhand, because if you buy it for a good price or a fairly good price, you're always going to get your money back or close to it, if not more money than you paid for it. It's always a good idea.
And the Slow is one of the kind of the cream at the top of the Walrus range as well, isn't it? It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, really nice.
Daniel says it's a Reverend Eastsider S. There you go.
Nice. A couple of years ago, Paul, James, and I were down in Bournemouth getting ready for a gig, and we recorded using, what was it, the Quad Cortex in an Airbnb that we got for the weekend. And we used your Reverend, what is it, the Greg Koch model?
Yeah, the Greg Koch, the Gristle Master.
Yes. Wonderful thing. Beautiful. The Reverend guitars seem to be really nice.
Yeah, really good. That's gone to some other guitar player now, that has. But yes, really good, really nice guitars. Maestro One says, I have a UA Ruby pedal and I love it. I used to drag an AC30 around for gigs in the Aces. Excuse me. But the Ruby is close enough for me these days. Apparently, lots of people say that. Lots of people say, quite respected people say that, the Ruby is the one to get.
And what are they? They're like $399 in the UK, though, aren't they? I think.
Are they?
From memory.
Yeah.
Something like that. If you think about how much you would spend on valves in the course of a busy gigging year, if you used a real AC30, there is an argument, isn't there?
I'd still say for $399, I'd go and get a Tonex pedal.
Really? Yeah.
Without a doubt, way more versatile. Yeah, I mean, it'd be all day long for me actually. But Each their own. Mr. McQuillan, I don't know if you saw, but I was.
I did. I was waiting for David to appear, and I shall say thank you for subscribing, David. Muchly appreciated. I shall use one of your plectrums in a video in due course and make reference to it.
Oh yes, do that. Tone Dragon. It's my end game delay, but my Engel Powerball 2. Oh,
right.
In 2006. Nice.
Yeah.
What's the biggest game changer for me? Oh, nice. Yeah. Those Powerballs are good. Again, I think that's another amp that's way more versatile than you would think it is. Like being an Engel, you just think it was like a
sure.
But it's not. They're good amps, really good amps. Musical Dreamweaver, best song with California in the title. Yes, Hotel
of course.
California. Yeah. Lord Brandsty. He says evening. A freezing country. He said, "What are your thoughts on cutting through a mix with a profiler? I hear they get a little lost in a live band."
Use a treble booster as your boost. No issues there then.
I hear this. To be honest, I saw a band in the last summer, and he was using the Kemper, and you couldn't hear. I mean, it's just it's EQ. It's nothing to do with profiler, amp, or whatever. I mean, I guess the thing of people saying a profiler or a modeler doesn't cut through a live mix because you haven't got that volume on the stage,
right?
So you have that as well. If the mix engineer knows what he's doing,
or she,
or whoever is, he or she, whoever is in charge of the mix out front, it shouldn't make a difference at all. And if it's EQ properly, I mean, the only problem that I can see from it is that if you've got something like a Kemper and you're in your bedroom and you're getting your tone sorted out for the gig and you go to the gig, that tone probably won't work.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're playing in your bedroom to yourself and you're going, well, that's
I've probably ramped the bass up massively and all the rest of it, and it's just going to be in a live situation.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, definitely worth tweaking.
And in the course of doing that video of the Walrus pedals last week, I was thinking back to my first fuzz pedal, which was a big box Electro Harmonix Big Muff. Surprise. Bought from the good peoples at Anderton, and the first time I used that in anger at a gig in North London, was it the Hope and Anchor? It's quite a reasonably famous venue. I stood on it and put my head back. The hair was all gone by that stage, so it wasn't that great. But I put my head back thinking, this is the moment, and immediately looked down. So, well, where's the sound gone?
Did you put your foot through the pedal?
No, I mean, it worked. It did what it had been set to do, but I had set it incorrectly for a live gig. I'd set it for the place where I was kind of tweaking the sound. Schoolboy error, really bad. EQ is massive. I was thinking about that when I was putting that video together. Similarly, I was thinking about similar things in terms of use an EQ, and EQ is wildly significant. When I was listening to Josh Scott's monologue earlier this week in kind of discussing the fallout of the Bad Monkey video that those guys did, and saying, look, it's got gain, it's got EQ on it, you can make it sound like a lot of things. Stating bleeding obvious. And I found myself wondering, would a programmable EQ pedal, rather than just having a GE7 or a GE10 on the board, be a good investment? Because if you've got a really nice dirt pedal of some ilk and a really tweakable EQ pedal, you can cover a huge amount of ground, can't you?
Oh yeah.
So is the issue of cutting through the mix, as Paul has already stated, just an EQ thing rather than a modeler thing, as opposed to a valve or tube amplifier thing? And I would say the former rather than the latter every time.
Yeah. I really don't believe it's anything to do with it being a modeler is the reason why it doesn't cut through a mix. It's just that's how people get it. Chemical P, howdy, gentlemen.
Hello, Mark.
Chemical P. Gary says, hey, gents, good day to you both. Paul, do you think the GX100 is mainly for gigging, or do you use it much for recording, or has Tonex changed your entire workflow? Funny enough,
the entire workflow.
What's that? Sorry?
I wouldn't have thought the entire workflow.
Yeah. It has. I mean, it's
really?
definitely so Tonex I use pretty much for everything now.
So is it bumped the Axe effects across a bit?
No, so I'll just use the Axe effects for
effects.
For effects, yeah, and use Tonex because at the end of the day, you know, I want to take my matchless out. I want the sound of my matchless, and that's I've got that in the Tonex now. So
yeah,
but the quality of the effects in the Axe effects are just ridiculous. So
yeah. But in terms of studio stuff, I don't know that you've actually got back to a point in the new setup where you're doing studio level stuff. Would you stick Tonex in rather than anything else now?
Yeah.
Really? Is that good?
Yeah, because I don't need to switch my amp on. It sounds like my matchless. I don't need to switch it on. I think
this really intrigues me. I think there is a video, not just thanks Guitar More for subscribing, not just for me, but I think for you guys. I think there is mileage in doing some decent ABs. When I was doing that video last week, and I put the Fender on at volume that makes your eggs boil, and I was listening to the spring reverb do its thing and thinking, God, what could be better? What could be better? And yet every time we have a discussion about Tonex, you're saying, yeah, it works. Don't need valves anymore. Have we reached that tipping point?
I mean, it's always, you know, I'm sure if I plugged into the matchless in a loud environment on a gig, I'd be going, oh yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. But it's just a convenience factor and it sounds the same. And I don't have to, I mean, I don't even have to turn the matchless on anymore. Right. It looks nice.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, do you think the GX100 is mainly for gigging? I haven't. Funny enough, I've lent it to Lee. I've lent the GX100 to Lee, so Lee can have a play around with it. I don't know how he's getting on with it. Maybe Lee can let us know.
He's in the house. If he's used it in anger down the dog and duck or whatever, do you want to chime in, Lee? Tell us what your thoughts are. See if you can give Gary a steer. Gary, are you thinking to buy it or to buy the Tonex? Is that why you're asking? What's the driver here?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I think for the price difference, the GX100. Look, if it was me, I would use the GX100 for the effects and get the Tonex for the preamp, because the preamps in the amp sounds in the Tonex, because you can profile your own amps or download other people's amps. It's best. There's a lot of crap out there, by the way. There's a lot of crap profiles.
Sure, it's the same with the Kemper. After all these years, there must be just a sea of absolute dross out there. Yeah. What's the driver, Gary? Have you got already a variety of floor-based effects which you love, or at the very least know how to use and are happy with in terms of a live scenario, that a Tonex would work perfectly well with? Or are you thinking, I want to buy a GX100 and a Tonex? What's the scenario here? What's your end game? Let us know. I'd like to get to the point of a solution for you tonight.
Yes. David Bro says, sure, it can be a gay thing, but it's not. I don't know what that's about. But
that's me poking fun at Venice Beach and what have you.
I see. Patois Janiki says, evening, folks. NAMM is kicking off tomorrow. Are you excited? Any predictions on what we might see? Quad Cortex just made an announcement. They will be presenting desktop editor. Any thought? Oh, nice.
Well, my knee-jerk thoughts on that are that Quad Cortex have been out for 2 years. What have they been doing for the last 2 years before getting to the point of suppose we better throw a desktop editor at it, shouldn't we?
Well, and I still like to say, as far as I know, you still can't profile fuzz pedals properly on it, and you can on Tone X. So what's going on?
Yeah, when I was on, I think it was last time or the time before with James, while you were away doing whatever it is in your A-list celebrity world that you do of a Wednesday evening when you can't be bothered to come and see us. I said when we did that recording down in Bournemouth with Quad Cortex, it just left me cold. Yes, it sounded like a recorded guitar, but in terms of playing it, there was just no feedback. There was nothing that made me get excited about recording those parts.
I'm wondering though if that is the way that you're used to hearing amplifiers, because you're used to hearing an amplifier in a room stuck next to you. I'm used to hearing an amplifier recorded, mic'd up in a different room.
Yeah.
Through monitors. So to me, I don't get that anyway, and I don't feel I need that. I don't get.
Well, yeah, that is probably one of the big things, because I've been starved of playing a lot of guitar in recent years, and you do it pretty much every day of your working life, and then some others when you're not working just for fun. You're used to those sounds, whereas I still get inspired by, oh, listen to that, hear that, and the feel that comes back from the guitar. Of there are noises that I made in that video that I did the first version of that never saw the light of day, that I thought, I'd sooner be unplugged. I'd sooner just listen to the acoustic sound of this electric guitar than
what were you plugged into?
noise that I'm making. I was into the Fender, the Reverb Deluxe 2, but there were sounds that were coming back. Yeah, I don't really like that. I'd sooner just listen to an unplugged electric guitar reacting the way an acoustic instrument does than some of the noises, the tones that I was getting back from it.
So what changed between that video and the second video?
Yeah, I mean, there were some of the sounds that I created, because it's like with any pedal, you get to extremes of the range of things that they give you in terms of volume, tone, drive, whatever else, and you just think, well, yeah, it's a sound, but it's not necessarily something that makes me happy. Whereas there are times at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, when I get up and I just want to play guitar, but I don't want to disturb the family, I'll just pick up an electric guitar and be really happy with the way that the body resonates, that the strings do things, and a note blooms that make me happier than some of the sounds that I created when I was messing around with new pedals.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. Maybe it connects to the cello thing of, well, it is just an acoustic instrument.
Yeah.
So, you've got to work to get the best out of it, and that's what I have done in the past with electric guitars, is just try harder to create tone from the instrument itself, and then just get a clear, kind of unhindered signal path through the amplifier and whatever comes before the amplifier to go from there. Nice. Anyway, I'm prattling. Apologies. So before, I reckon we've overshot about 50% of that. Is there anything that you're particularly excited about for now? I'm interested about the fact that UA have decided to release their big new thing before it even kicks off. Have they got a stand there? I've not looked at the exhibitor list.
I don't think they've got a stand. I think that's why they've done it.
Is there anything else that you've heard rumors about that might magically appear tomorrow? I'm interested to see what the blue guitar thing's like, the new version of that.
Yeah, no, there's a couple of things that I can't talk about yet, but there's nothing that's. Huh?
Next week we'll be able to talk about everything.
Yeah. But no, there's nothing that's making me go, oh my god, there's something really, really special coming out.
Right. Yeah.
So no. I mean, but guarantee, it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't, I don't know about everything that's coming out at all. I'm sure there'll be some things there that will go, that's really good, that's really clever, that's that looks great. Someone's done something, but yeah, I don't know about anything as yet. What's that?
That is Rabeer's music, man.
No, that's a Sabre.
He's just done 6 minutes ago.
That's a Sabre.
Mate, that's 6 minutes ago on his own channel.
Yeah, but it's a Sabre.
Join music, man.
Does it say? What does it say? Does it say?
Officially join music, man.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's joined it, but that's a Sabre.
Right. So his first signature model is somebody else's signature model. Is that what we're saying?
No, the Sabre's not a the Sabre's not a signature model. The Sabre's a
general. I like their guitars, is it?
Yeah, he hasn't said this is a signature model, is he?
I assume that's what it'd be in terms of I've joined them.
No, he's an artist at the moment. I think he will have. I think he will have a signature model. It doesn't mean anything. It could be. There's loads of people that endorse different. That companies endorse artists and give them guitars. But it's like Fender or whatever, but it's still a Fender Strat. That's just a Sabre. Yeah. Maybe they can bring out a Sabre with his pickups or something. With his
what they call bare knuckle, what they call silos,
something like that. Yeah.
Nice.
It looks. Those Sabres do look really nice.
Yeah. Tasty.
Right. John McQuiggan says, "Evening. I see Chappers is at NAMM. Hope James got some good earplugs with him." Mr. Hodges.
Hey up, Max.
Evening, Max. Paul Gardner says, gone back to an analog board and looking for delay and reverb recommendation. What you want? Delay?
Analog,
you want analog delay?
It's going to be expensive. Analog reverb surely means you're going to go spring.
That's all you can do on a board. There's no analog.
So you're looking at a Surfy Bear for many hundreds of pounds. Analog delay can be cheaper if you went with the Ibanez. What's the sort of pinkish?
The best to me, there's only one analog delay, and that's the Clockwork by
J-Rocket. Yeah,
J-Rocket. That is a fantastic sound delay because
it's all analog.
Yeah, it's all analog. Yeah.
Wow, right.
And it's such a well built. I feel good now. I've got all my pedals in boxes in the garage. I need to start putting them out because I missed that. That's a great.
Yeah. When I last went to Paul's gaff before he moved, that was the thing, and again maybe it's the difference between real speakers moving air and going through a computer and all the rest of it, but that delay through a matchless, even though it was going through the tube amp expander, that boiled my eggs more than having everything that the Fractal had to offer.
Yeah,
wonderful thing. Yeah, the Surfy Bear for real reverb, but wait and see what Jivy's video about the Fender external reverb tank has to say before you do anything silly. And delay, if you've got money to burn, go with the J-Rocket, as Paul suggests. If you're looking slightly less money spent, the Ibanez analog thing is classic, isn't it? Been on a gazillion boards over the years.
Yeah. Maestro One says, an outstanding lesson music man artist, in my humble opinion, is the one and only Jamie Humphries. There we go. So Jamie Humphries is a music man.
Yeah.
Music man, Piezzo Super Sport. That's a great.
I presume that means Super Strat rather than Super Sport, but I may be
wrong.
Super Sport. Is it actually called Super Sport? Right. I had some replies from Mr. Humphries this weekend. On Instagram in response to his live feed doing the We Will Rock You show in Scandinavia. He's using one of those Black Star floorboard amp things, the red one that's got tremolo and delay and all the rest of it on. He's using a brilliant, really clever thought process. He's using one of those tiny little Black Star Fly amps.
Wow.
Sort of within range, just as monitor, in order to generate feedback. went direct out of that floorboard thing, and that's the only thing on. He's got volume and expression, and the volume's got tuner built into it. He's got an expression pedal. He's got that floorboard thing from Black Star. He's got the fly thing, and then he's got a. I asked about this. This was the bit that intrigued me. If you're going to do a Brian May gig, even if you're using a copy of the Red Special, surely you've got to have a treble booster involved. And he's got a strap-mounted treble booster going into that floor setup, but he's using the fly, and that's the thing that I thought was real left field, clever, high-level stuff. Using the fly amp to generate the feedback, and then everything going out to the desk and the sound person, be it he or she or they, I suppose I should say these days, doing the honors. Really clever. Yeah, Jamie Humphrey, monster player, monster. If you haven't seen it already, go back on his channel and find the Ibanez thing where he basically does Joe Satriani for a few minutes. It sounds mega. Reminds me of days when I had slightly more hair than we have, old boy.
Shahar says, Paul, I know you have experience with both the Axe effects and the Eventide H90. Can you contrast the two in terms of effect quality? I've never used an H90 actually. So
I think Shahar is harking back to the fact that Jivey said that when he was up at the wonderful Birmingham Guitar Show, he got hold of one of those things, but it seems that you yet to get your mitts on it.
Yeah,
so I think stick a pin in it, Shahar, and come back to us in a few weeks once Paul's got his mitts on it. And had a go with the H90, but in terms of the Axe effects, it's rarefied air, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be getting any benefits by switching over to an H90, especially with the processing power, because the Axe effects has more processing power than the H90. So I wouldn't even worry about it. I think it could be one of those things where you're constantly chasing what the next best thing is.
Yeah.
Because someone's like, the new Axe effects is out, and it's going to be better than mine. And yeah, it might be 5% better, but are you actually going to be using that 5%? I won't worry about it. I personally would stick with the Axe effects. I've got no plans to go and check out an H90 to replace my Axe effects.
Not to replace it, just for intrigue.
Anyway, why is Shahar doing all sort of sensible, non jokey questions? I'm missing his insults. Lee says, I mentioned this before, but I really like the look of the Simplifier Mark II. I have to try one. Need to investigate the Tone X more too. How much is Simplifier?
I think they're about 400 cheats, aren't they?
So again, I wouldn't. I'm not. No, it's not for me. Tone X, same price.
I see my internet's going a bit slow here because I'm doing all the things. If you can get hold of it, wise words.
That is true. That's fair. Are they still not in the shops yet?
The last time I looked, I found myself on backs.co.uk. I think they're called Backs Music, and they said delivered direct in around 12 days, something like that.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Which isn't the end of the world, but you do wonder if everybody else is like that. Right, here we go. Simplifier and Humboldt. Oh, that's the bass version. Apologies, Funky Bass UK, $299 for your reference. Simplifier Deluxe dual channel stereo amp and cab simulator pedal with foot switch, $399. But it does not say Mark II. All right, here we go. DSM and Humboldt Simplifier Mark II amp and cab simplifier pedal, $299. So 100 quid cheaper than Tone X. However, I don't know that you get anything beyond a bit of built-in reverb on that. So if that's the case, you can what can you do with Tone X? Everything. You can do muck pedals, can't you? So you still need your ambient elements above and beyond.
So it's got reverb. It's got reverb and it's got a compressor. That's it.
Okay.
It's got reverb and EQ. But
so for 100 quid more than the Mark II, you get potentially any amplifier in the world, depending on whether or not it's a Studio Rat standard capture. Is capture the right word?
Yeah, capture's the right word.
Yes.
Yeah.
So potentially any amplifier model capture in the world of varying standards, but if you just stick with the ones that Paul and James have done, they'll be really blooming good, family audience. And it's got reverb and compressor built in. I don't know that the simplifier can tick that box. But if you want to stay analog, that's the thing about the simplifier, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Paul stands though, if you can get hold of the blooming thing.
Yeah. Paul Folger says, "Evening guys, can you use a looper with a Spark amp?" Well, you can.
I guess you could do, but it's going to be a lot of faff, isn't it?
Well, you can put the looper in the front.
You just go straight in the front.
Yeah, the only way of doing it is a looper in the front. The only thing about the looper in the front is every time that you loop, you're adding volume to that loop. So eventually it's going to distort and crap out. And with the Spark, it's going to crap out.
Yeah.
It's not designed to do that. Don't, I wouldn't even consider. The only other thing you could do is to get the only other way of doing it is take the headphone out, run into the looper, and then run into something else. But it's a faff. That's not what it's designed to do.
Yeah. With the toys that I've been buying in recent weeks, I was in the garage before we went up north a couple of days ago, pulling out the box that the Spark came in, because I've got the box that what are they called?
Positive Grid.
Positive Grid. Yeah, I've got the box that Positive Grid put it in, but also the original box that it arrived at my former house in. And yeah, it's gone on eBay. I don't need it. I've got a wonderful Boss katana that does everything that the Spark does and more, and has got more ins and outs and all the rest of it. The Spark's a nice thing for a level, but I think katana is a step change improvement myself.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, hold on. We've had a.
Hang on a minute. I'll get ready in James's absence.
Sent of a wheelchair pillows back. He's given us $5. Thank you, Sent of a wheelchair pillow. He says.
There we go.
And he says, "Hey guys, sick in bed with flu." Oh, mate, sorry about that.
Bless you, on socks.
Any suggestions on reasonably priced analog rack delay units that I can shop for a while on the mend? Analog rack delay units. I can't think of any.
No, rack gear is not my department. I can't help. Annoyingly, and it's really annoying, we need James to answer that.
No, I can answer that. I cannot think of any analog rack delays. I mean, as opposed to racking, I can't think of any.
Well, where's the question? I can still see Paul.
Sorry. Sorry. I didn't.
Right, sent of a wheelchair pillow. I want to know who this person is. I want whoever sent of a wheelchair pillow to come to the first live from Dave Studio Rats gathering, because every week when you do this, it raises a titter from my kitchen as I enjoy this. No, I don't know. What I'm intrigued by, though, is what is your driver for this? Why do you want a rack analog delay? Because if you're getting into rack territory, surely there is a digital version of an analog that would do an unbelievably close rendering of it.
Do you know what I would? What I would do, I would go and get a
J-Rocket.
Yeah, okay. I go and get something like the J-Rocket clockwork, and I would go and get a rack looper, like a loop switcher. Something like the Rocktron used to make them.
Yeah.
And then you can basically have any pedal in a rack, in the rack, on a drawer in the rack, and patch it through into the looper, and then you can switch in and out those as you want it. That's what I would do.
And where you go.
That's what I used to do. I used to do that with the Patchmate, Rocktron Patchmate.
Nice. I'm trying to find Clockwork. It is called Clockwork, isn't it?
Yeah, Clockworks or Clockwork, yeah.
Andersons aren't doing it anymore,
aren't they?
Well, it doesn't seem so. Bear with.
Here we go. Now, where did we get to? Here we go. David Brose. Venice has the crackheads, but so does Beverly Hills. Venice, Santa Monica is the beach area of LA, but I'm sure you could find a rainbow flag if that's your thing. I don't know, where's all this come from?
Try everything twice, David.
Oh, yeah. Lord Brantley.
Lord, good evening. I have a Kemper. Good for you, Squire.
He said, thanks for your answer. P.S. Your TS independence profiles are awesome. That's why I'm considering using the Kemper Live. Oh, nice one. Thanks, mate.
Nice.
TS.
What's that? Not Tube Screen.
Studio.
I thought it was oh God. Matchless Independence, isn't it?
Yeah, I know what TS is. He means TSR, the Studio Rats independence profiles. Possibly.
Oh, right, yeah, that might be. That makes sense, doesn't it? Very
okay.
Good.
Yeah, give it a go. Give it a go.
Oh.
Give it a go. But yeah, I think that would work perfectly. Tone Dragon says, just went and subbed to Adventure in Gearland. Everyone else should too. There you go.
Thank you.
Already subbed. There we go.
Nice one, Mississippi.
Here we go. This is what I'm expecting. Paul, does your shirt say die or pie? Pie. No, it says
stand up, brother.
It says diesel or diesel. It says diesel. But I don't know. Yeah, that's a stupid. I don't know why they made die.
For those of you who have never socialised in person with Paul, he's a walking wardrobe due to his other career as a male model.
Absolutely, yeah.
Last time I saw him, he was checking the label on my jumper to make sure it wasn't something that he'd already got a deal for.
As you cover the Katana range a lot, I don't have another cab, but have a Katana artist and can connect another amp into the speaker. With something like EVH 5150, Iron Ball, Engel, Iron Ball work. Let me read this again. As you cover the
I'm confused by this one, Poiter.
But have a Katana artist and can connect another amp.
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't have another cab. So if you unplug the amplification unit of the 5150 or the Engel and stick the connector into the back of your Katana, yes, it will work. I have done exactly that with a Marshall and a Laney.
I think he's saying the other way around. I think he's got the Katana cab, but would a 5150 amp work?
Right, yeah. So a Katana artist combo as opposed to the head. So yeah, I mean the speaker will still work. Check your impedance. Don't do anything until you've checked your impedance. This is an official The Studio Rats disclaimer. If you do not check your impedance, entirely on your own head be it. But there is no reason why an amplifier wouldn't work into a speaker within a Katana cab.
Or the other way around.
Yeah, exactly that.
Or the other way around. If you've got like you want to plug a Katana into EVH 5150 cab, whatever. Yes. But check the impedance, as Greg says.
Yeah, and James will give us the full lowdown on that because he's the only one of the three of us that understands the equation. But there we
are. Matt from Distance Done Studios. Hi, Matt. He says, hi, everyone. Hope you're doing well and having a good week. And you, Matt.
You too, mate. You too, brother.
Oh, congrats, Matt, as well. I think Matt got his first 500 subscribers.
Well done, Squire. Well done.
Big day. Scrunch says, what do you guys feel about Gibson's latest money cow of Kurt Hammett's signature Les Paul Copper Greenie?
We discussed this. Was it a week ago? Was it when you were off? Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. We're talking about.
So this is the Peter Green Les Paul, isn't it?
Yes. There's something in the news that's associated with this, so maybe we can give our opinion then.
Yeah. We'll come back to it. Scrunch.
But
Hey, look, if you've got money to burn, good for you.
I think it's a good investment.
Yeah,
I don't know how many they're building, but I think if you're the sort of person that, I think they're about 20 grand. If you've got 20 grand lying around, I personally think that you'd make more money on that than sticking it in the bank.
Yep. The way that property is in the UK at the minute, there's every chance you'd make more with that guitar than you would in property as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it's everywhere, by the way. It's not just the UK.
Oh.
Gary says, first guys, thanks for your input. I do own the GX100, but find the amp models lacking when I record. I only use 2 or 3 of them. Your idea of using Tone-X with it sounds like a nice option. Yeah, because the effects in the GX100 are great.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you can afford to drop another, 400 quid on a Tone-X, use that in conjunction with the 100. That's just I'm thinking in terms of getting on a train into London to do a gig, or if you're on the other side of the world, getting on a train into New York to do a gig, and all you've got in your backpack is a strap, spare strings, your gear for after the gig in terms of what you're going to wear home, and a pedal board that's got 2 pedals on it, possibly 1 or 2 power supplies, and away you go. How wonderful is that? Yeah. Rather than lumping within 25 feet of me in that direction is a 100 watt Marshall 900. The other side of this plasterboard wall is that Fender 60 watt, both of which are making my back ache just thinking about picking them up. Having that just in your backpack and going, yeah, I've got everything that I need. And it might not be as much fun as playing a real set of tubes or valves, but crikey Moses, Janine in the front row there with a lukewarm white wine who's just giving it that dance.
Oh yeah.
One foot's been nailed to the floor. Oh, I love this one, lads. Go on, do it.
She comes to my gigs as well for some reason.
She gets around, doesn't she? Yeah. To be able to play to the point where she and 98% of the rest of the audience do not know the difference between, is he playing through an amp or is he playing through something on the floor? I'm all in, mate. Go for it, Gary. Go for it if you can afford a new Tone-X and you can get hold of one.
Yeah. David says messages don't seem to delete when you delete them. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't wonder what that is.
That's
don't
all right,
worry,
David.
It's all good.
If anybody was being offensive, it was me, so don't worry about it. I was the one that was out of line. No bother with you.
Absolutely. Jeff says, greetings from Brisbane. I was having a lovely sleep and woke with a start. The rats. Sincere apologies for my totally right. Unbelievable.
Hey, we'll let it go just this once, Jeff, but crikey Moses, if it happens again this quarter, we're going to put you to the back of the line.
Yeah. I tell you what, shall we stop?
Yeah, let's get on, isn't it?
Let's do it. Okay, give me 2 seconds. Need to do entire screen. Click on that, and I've got to be quick. There we go. Right. So we're talking about Greenie. So Greenie is just 20 grand, and they've just released a standard, which is a Greenie. It's not a custom shop, but it's a Greenie standard. Now, to me, have a look at this picture.
Oh, man, even that first one looked mint to me.
I don't like it. Isn't that funny? I don't. I think that looks. That I don't get that at all.
Let me see if I can find it. Whilst you're discussing this one, I'll see if I can find the 8-bomb custom one that I was talking about last week, because I think his looks beautiful. 8-bomb custom. I think they are stunning. It's a geezer out of Russia who does knockoff copies, and his work is phenomenal.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, if you do want to pick one of these up, it's 3,199.
Punchy.
It just doesn't look as good. It just doesn't look as good to me. Seymour Duncan announces the Hyper Switch, an app-controlled selector switch that lets you create custom pickup wiring configurations via Bluetooth. What do you think? Is he gone? I can't see anything.
Well, I'm still here, but custom Bluetooth
just
starts to confuse me. I'll come back to this. Sorry, I was just holding up the actual thing. Right, just give me the Pressy again.
Right, so it's Seymour Duncan announces the Hyper Switch, an app-controlled selector switch that lets you create custom pickup wiring configurations via Bluetooth.
Oh, blimey! But surely that's just going to add latency.
No, I think you can.
Or is it that you can set it before you start playing, and then it's hardwired once you start using it?
I think so. I think that's what it is. So basically, you can say in pickup select. In pickup number 1, I want my neck pickup. In pickup number 2, I want my bridge pickup, and that sort of thing. And I want this, out of phase or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's from phase reversal core splitting, series and parallel configurations. I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by all this stuff. I like if money was no object, I would have guitars that just did the classic S-type thing of this is how it was in the late 50s. That one that you got rid of, that two-tone sunburst with a single ply scratch plate. I fell in love with that guitar. If I'd have had the payoff money that I'd had at the time that you were selling it, I would have snapped your arm off. But I'm being pragmatic. When we started at the beginning of this little session tonight, I can't remember his name. The guy that looked like a male model John Mayer lookalike with his series parallel and all the rest of it. He's got that guitar that can do everything. I like the idea of having all of these options in the instrument, but also I like the idea of having just something that does it traditionally. So there's no mucky muck in the way, and you just get pure signal path. And then having a separate instrument that can do all manner of different party tricks and magic and all the rest of it. Maybe this would be the way, given there are so many pickup manufacturers that have sprung up in recent times that have become obvious to the rest of us by virtue of the internet that do wonderful things. Let's not forget that Seymour Duncan, Damasio, etc., have been doing it for literally decades, and they really know their onions. All because it's an old or traditional, depending on how you're going to spin it, brand name doesn't mean it's not brilliant. They do great work, don't they? Otherwise, they wouldn't still be around.
Yeah. I think the only thing for me is that I don't think I would use anything apart from the standard.
Yeah.
I don't really give monkeys about.
Is it something that you need?
Yeah, I don't give monkeys about series or parallel configurations. I just want. I mean, there's a reason why. There's a reason why a Strat is wired like a Strat, and there's a reason why a Tilly is wired like a Tilly, because that's their best on the instrument. And to me, you don't really need to change stuff, but it's there anyway.
Yeah, I would kind of echo that by saying a little while ago I got my I think it's a 2004, might be 2005 American Telly. I changed the pickup selector out and the arrangement inside it so that I've got bridge, middle, neck, and series rather than parallel. And the neck pickup has never sounded as good since. So I'm just going to change it back out. It's just not as good.
Yeah, good move.
Yeah. Anyway, there we are. Oh, hey, what have we got here? Walrus Audio, you say?
I have. So they brought out the Fundamental series. I did a video on this. Greg did a video on this as well. So 8 different pedals, starting from just under $100.
Yep, and 99 quid in this side of the water. $129 for the non-dirt ones. Anything modulating or time-based is $129 on the other side of the world. I think that a really good thing, if you want to experiment with new effects, and I think you can trace this back, as I kind of doffed the cap to in my video, you can trace this back to Josh Scott going, here's the 3 series. You can do really good pedals for not a huge amount of money, that sound great and it works, as opposed to the Amazon level of third-party created manufactured pedals that are probably going to fall apart if you use them in anger for any real length of time. Whereas these things, I think, are put together to a level that would allow you to gig with them and give you a suitable variety of different sounds to be usable in a live environment. And I'm kind of going on a bit of a tangent here from Weldon Walrus, but I think Josh Scott, and I'm kind of nailing my colours to the mast here, I think he is a wonderful human for doing what he's doing whilst paying people's wages and mortgages by extension with his own company, but doing what he does to the pedal industry, or for the pedal industry, I should say. Because to my mind, when he released the 3 Series, he basically pulled a pin out and lobbed a grenade and said, right, you lot, you've been doing it for ages. We can do better for the end user, because there will always be, to my mind, enough people who will buy something for 25 quid from Amazon and go, yeah, I like that, I'll buy something else. But there will be, at the other end of the scale, people who are more interested in a J-Rocket Clockwork or a UA, which we'll come to in a couple of tabs' time, I'm sure. There is enough to go around for everyone, but he agitates the industry sufficiently to make other manufacturers who may or may not have been resting on their laurels, without being too specific about anyone in particular, to go, come on, do something. The industry has changed. Move with it. And I think until the day I die, Josh is a wonderful human for doing what he's done for that. Anyway, I'll get back off my soapbox and let you say your piece.
There we go. I really like the drive. That's what I've got to say.
Yeah, the drive all the way. Yeah, I had Jeff Cook said similar things on the comments in my video as well.
Eddie Van Halen's Hop Teacher guitar is going into auction.
If we sell the house that you've just bought, and all the guitars in it, we'll only need all of the rest of the people watching this stream to donate about another $10,000 or $15,000, and we can buy it between us, and then we can just do a timeshare.
Absolutely.
That's going to be crazy, isn't it?
Well, they're reckoned between 2 and 3 million. Yeah, it's not even like the famous, because basically it's a Kramer Beretta, isn't it? Is it Beretta?
I don't know. I love the fact that pretty much from the off, right up to the end, he was constantly hacking things up, and to that end, I will show it for the second week running. That thing used to look very different. It looks really pretty now. It didn't used to.
By the way, I can't see. I can't see what's going on. I can only see my screen.
The rest of the internet could. Don't worry about it. I wasn't showing anything untoward. I was showing the Encore S-Type that I scratched all the paint off and finished in Monty Presso wax oil, whatever he calls it. But Mr. Van Halen, God rest his soul, did things differently and tried to do things differently. I heard an anecdote that the last time he spoke to Les Paul, they had both in recent weeks been working on plectrums that had sandpaper glued to them for better grip. So entirely unrelated, two of the greatest minds in electric guitar history, music history to my mind, had been coming up with the same thought process of, I want more control of my pick to get the sound out of my instrument better. I'm going to try sandpaper. And the last conversation they had together was, oh, I've just been doing that as well. So it might not be the original one, and it's not something I'd even contemplate trying to gather money together for. But anything Eddie Van Halen, God bless him. I think he was someone that moved the goalposts, and I'm not saying anything that anybody watching doesn't already know, but brilliant. Someone that moves things forward has forever got my respect.
So not that I can say who it was, but there's something else I know about. So Eddie Van Halen and a software amp sim developer were working together.
Ooh.
But it never happened. It didn't come out.
Yeah. I wonder if Wolfie could move that on.
Yeah, possibly could. JHS EXS Lizard Queen, the octave fuzz distortion inspired by the 70s. Is this what you've ordered?
Yes. Well, not the one that is pictured. This is the big box version, which they did 1,000 units of this. 30 of which were flipped. The one that you've scrolled down to now is the one that I've ordered from Anderton's, or pre-ordered from Anderton's.
Okay.
So they've done a available to the masses version for less than 100 quid in the UK, $99 in the US. The one that you're now on was limited to 1,000 units, 30 of which were reverse graphic screen print, so mostly black on the back. And yeah, this has been going on for years. Again, another event that Paul, James and I did a couple of years ago. I listened to a live stream as I was driving to the venue of the guys talking about, we want to do this Lizard Queen thing. And literally 2 years later, they've managed to get, what's he called, Mike Matthews of Electro Harmonics to go, okay, yeah, I'll stick my name and my brand behind this. A guy with 60 years worth of pedal power behind him, as it were. And they brought this to market. And people were complaining in the live stream that JHS did that $350 was too much for a posh pedal. I would point the people that were complaining at the cost of a clon, an original clon, and say, this is probably quite reasonable, actually, when you think about the level of research and development that these guys have gone to. I think it is a wonderful thing. And the fact that they've done a sort of 2-tier thing whereby you can just get an Electro Harmonics for 99 quid and it does pretty much the same thing, give or take. You know, you think Puerto rule of 80-20. Yeah, I'll spend, what's that going to be? 20% of the cost of the posh one and get 80% of the results sound-wise. You'll do for me. I'm looking forward to that arriving. I shall very definitely do a video on that.
There we go. So UA FX guitar pedals adds Galaxy 74, Delverb, and Max. The only one I'm interested in this is the Max. Do we know what the Max is based on?
It's 2 compressors, isn't it? I haven't gone into detail with this one.
Oh, okay. So it's an LA2A. Oh, okay. So it's got LA2A, right. 1176, and Dynacom. And whilst the preamp is modelled on the 610 tube mic preamp. Wonder why they've done that. Interesting. I think that's the one that I'd be interested in.
For those of us idiot guitar players that don't understand how studios work, what is a 610 tube preamp, Paul?
So a 610 tube preamp is UA's. So they brought out a UA when it first started. Bill Putnam invented a mixing console called the 610, and it had 610 tube preamps in it.
Right.
And you can get recreations of that. They brought out a 610. They basically brought out a rack of a 610 preamp and a LA2A style compressor, so optical compressor.
Yeah.
And obviously they model all of this sort of stuff within the UA Apollo system.
Right.
And now they brought it out on this pedal. I'm wondering why you'd need the tube mic preamp model in a guitar pedal, but I'd have to hear it. But I like the idea of the compressors. Has it got a mix control? Has it got a mix?
Oh, I can't see, mate.
It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it has. Hold on, I'm going to do that. If I do that, there we go. It's got ratio comp, preamp comp. No, it hasn't. Maybe you can do it in software. I don't know. But anyway, there's that. 379.
Before you move on,
yeah.
Scroll back up to the top.
Yeah.
So we've just seen that the compressor is 379, as is that one. How much was the Boss version? And that's 379 as well. The original versions of the golden reverberator and what was the delay one called? Space something, was it?
I can't remember.
Anyway, whatever they were called, they were £20 more expensive than that. And now this one here does delay and reverb in one box for 20 quid less.
Oh, it's delay as well, is it? Oh, that's good.
2 in 1.
What reverbs it got? Hold on, let's have a quick look. Let's see what reverbs it's got. It's got a plate. It's got the plate 140. It's got a 224. That's great. That's
exactly.
That's great.
Surely this means that they've just decided en masse as a company. They must have taken a vote amongst all of the staff, including whoever it is, Dave, that works the kettle at the canteen.
Yeah.
Is it worth keeping the version ones going, or should we just go, right, you're out? We're going to go $20 cheaper.
The version ones are much more tweakable than these.
If you only had one slot on your pedal board.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, I'd go for that.
This thing, but again, and it's something that we'd kind of discussed before we went live tonight. I'm bemused they can get all of this stuff into the same footprint. Why have they not done away with one or two different models, just gone with the ones that people have kind of waxed lyrical most about, and integrated MIDI functionality?
Well, yeah. I think the MIDI functionality is definitely a point. I just think with all this, I think they need to bring out like a multi-effects version of all of these pedals. I mean, they're all DSP. They could put everything inside one pedal.
Yeah.
You can guarantee that the internals of that pedal are.
Well, this is the thing. If you scroll up and down again, look at the 6 knobs there and the 2 switches. There's 6 knobs and 2 switches. It's the same footprint in the same way that the 3 series has got 3 controls and a switch. All right, they've stuck an extra one. Okay, fine. But all the same, it's in terms of repetitive manufacturing process. They've followed a theme, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm with you. I'm just bemused by the fact that they haven't gone MIDI yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, there we are.
So talking about Music Man, Sterling, they've just brought out some Vincent in different colours. I think it's a bit of a weird guitar. So what's that?
It's a thing, isn't it? I'm going to try and find, before you scroll to the bottom of that page, the Brian May guitars. In fact, I'm going to show that again. There's the 8-bomb custom.
I can't see.
I can't see.
You're going to have to wait.
Well, can. No. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to open a new tab. That would be the best thing to do, wouldn't
it? So I've got one more bit of news to do.
Go on, do that.
This made me laugh. So Steve Vai's got a new album out.
Yeah, Vigash. He's been priming this on his Instagram feed for months, hasn't he? Because this dude died, didn't he, years ago?
But is gash just an offensive word just in the UK?
Well, I assume it's internationally offensive, and we're being demonetized. When I say we, Paul and James are being demonetized to speak.
And I think the other guy's name is Gash.
Yeah, that was his thing. From what I could pick up from having kind of seen bits of this on Steve Vai's Instagram, this guy was. I don't want to speak out of turn of the dead. I just got the impression from what I saw that this chap was angry, and so he made his stage persona under that name.
hold on a sec. You say did is he now?
He's long since dead.
Oh, okay. So give us the background of this. What's going on?
As I understand it, from my recollection, because for reference, dear viewer, Paul and I didn't discuss this bit of news before we came on tonight. And what I have seen from Steve Vai's Instagram is that he worked with this chap many moons ago, sadly departed, and I just got the impression that he was an angry, angry guy. So it may be that in America the word gash is as offensive as it is, or can be construed as in the UK. But the music that they created together many moons ago, Mr. Vai, Lord Vai, Sir Vai, in my mind, I think he's a genius, has seen fit to put his production and mastering hat to, and has finally brought the works that they've put together to the world many moons after this guy's departed.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a joke. I get the impression from having seen some other posts that he wanted to kind of honor this guy's memory of this guy was a musical force, and the things that we were doing at the time need to be heard and understood by the world.
Okay, nice. Unfortunately. Right, we need to start getting through these because we've got a lot of
push on, don't we? It's getting
right. Paul says, evening guys. Hope you can...
Yep, I've done that one. Hello. Yep.
Have you both?
We've done that. By virtue of the news.
Chemical piece of telephone. Can you hear my heart beating? Laying by my wife, I can feel your heart beating. Music at play is the same. That's for you, Greg. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but
thanks, Mike. You and I know what we're talking about. Let's push on. Everybody else needs to subscribe to you, my personal channel.
David Brose, I can't effing type. I played a free from Jakey Lee, and it was amazing. He's made a mini version, and I'm expecting this will come out this week. Nice.
Interesting. Right. Okay.
Great player. Ian Lorimer, evening guys. Evening in. Max Hodges, Paul Folger. I believe there's a third-party Bluetooth pedal which adds that functionality. The own label one does not. It's bloody annoying. The thing is really handy otherwise. There we go.
Right, so that refers to the Positive Grid Spark. There is a looper somewhere,
okay.
But you need to speak to somebody. Thank you, Max.
There we go.
Your knowledge is greater than ours.
Cheers, Max. Guitar More says, for amp and effects modeling, how do apps like S-Gear, Amplitude, etc. compared to hardware modelers? For reference, I'll be using them through a Katana Artist Mark 1. For amp and effects modeling, how do apps like S-Gear... I guess you're not using it live because otherwise you're going to have to be taking a computer out with you, which is, you can do.
The closest I got to Amplitude was probably 10 years ago, if not more now. Tiny little, it was the size of, look, my wife's workspace. Here is her Conceal and Hydrate, Radiance Concealer and Hydroclonic. That's not right. Yeah, that sort of size thing with a lead coming out of it that went into the guitar, into the iPhone rather. And then in the back end of it, put your quarter-inch jack. And I used that to warm up pre-gig that I used to do with Jivey many moons ago. But the sound that was coming out of what I was listening to from Amplitude, it's not for me. It performs a function for warm-up, but I wouldn't want to go anywhere near it for live. But again, that was more than a decade ago. Silicon technology has moved on substantially. Have you got anything to throw in that's a bit more relevant or up to date, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything's different. You can get crap. Apps, guitar, apps, and you can get crap hardware. So, S-Gear is really good. Amplitude's really good. ToneX is really good. The ToneX software sounds exactly the same as ToneX pedal. So, but you can buy. I mean, I don't want to start doing names, but there's definitely some hardware stuff out there that I think sounds and feels and has faults all over it. So,
and somewhere further up the chat, somebody referenced the fact that the Quad Cortex has just gone to computer platform now as well. And here's me, I don't want you to think that whatever is said on here is absolutely gospel. I somewhere earlier in the stream said just didn't boil my eggs, the Quad Cortex, but I also said that I think Rabea sounds blooming phenomenal, because he does. And he went on stage at Glastonbury a couple of years back with the Quad Cortex and sounded like an absolute legend, didn't he?
Yeah, sounded brilliant. Bobby's Guitar Music Room, would it make a difference in a good way to replace a stock speaker in my Katana? It does make a difference. It makes a little bit of a difference. The only one.
What are you going to replace it with, Bobby? Are you thinking I'm going to push the boat out and get the Katana speaker, which has been designed specifically to make Katana sound absolutely out of this world? Or are you looking at somewhere else?
The Wazza speaker. Yeah, the Wazza speaker is probably the only one that I think would be worth doing.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm not sure there's.
It's honestly the Katana speaker sounds good. You might get you will get a little bit of a difference changing the speaker. It does sound a little bit different. I mean, all speakers do sound different. I did a video on it. I've done a video a couple of years back doing it. So if you want to check that out and see what you think, but I wouldn't bother, to be honest.
I'd be interested, Bobby, in just looking at your thumbnail. You are on a decent sized stage there. There's a lot of par cans up in the rafters pointing on you. What other things have you changed speakers in before you went Katana? Cross-reference. It's not going to be that unusual. It's not an entirely separated logic between if you change the speaker on a modeler or you change the speaker on a tube or valve amp, depending on what side of the water you're on. Anyway, there we are. Afternoon, Thomas.
Afternoon, Thomas. Ian says, question for you, Paul, regarding connecting the Tonex to an XFX3. Do you run the input and output, output 3 and 4, or are you able to turn off the effects in the Tonex while running the capture in the X? Question regarding the content. Do you run the input, output 3 or 4? And are you able to turn the effects in the Tonex while running? I don't quite understand, Ian, but I'll tell you what I do. I run the output of Tonex straight into inputs 3 and 4 on the XFX. I haven't got it in a loop, if that's what you mean. So it's not actually as a module inside the XFX3 I forgot what you call it, block. It's not a block. I just run straight in. In terms of, are you able to turn off the effects in Tonex while running the capture? I'm trying to understand what you mean, but turn off the effects in Tonex while running the capture, because the capture's not in the Axe effects. The Axe doesn't capture while running the. You might have to explain that a little bit more, Ian. Sorry, mate. But that's why I'm doing it. I'm using the amp modeling and the speaker modeling from Tonex running into the Axe effects, and the Axe effects is just being used for effects. I hope that helps. David says the appeal of the simplified to me is the 2x light outs and the center amp. There we go. Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
So, well, hang on. If you're using an amp, why do you need a simplifier?
This is a good point. This is a really good point. Maybe it's for sending to front of house. That's a good point. I don't actually know. Ned says, didn't TC do great rack units? Yes, they did. Not analog. Unless I'm missing something. I don't think there's an analog TC rack unit.
I don't know. Rack is beyond my capacity.
Aristotle says, Ibanez and Yamaha did analog. Yes. I remember the Yamaha one. Ibanez and Yamaha did analog rack delay units, but I can't see the point to get them limited time and so on. Yeah, you're honestly far better off getting a pedal and buying a looper if that's the way you want to do it. Martin Collier says, I've been waiting over a month with Andertons for Tone X. They did give only average reviews. Makes you wonder. The thing about Tone X, it's the sounds that are built in. I wouldn't use them. But that's not the point of Tone X. Yeah. I don't know who did. Full respect to the IK Multimedia guys. I think they did a fantastic job creating the unit. The only thing is, for me, the captures inside the unit when you buy it aren't great.
Yeah.
That's why you model your own, or you go and buy the pack that me and James did.
And I, dear viewer, for what it's worth, I have no financial connection to the Studio Rats. Makes no difference to me. I love these boys. They're good value. They share their professional knowledge freely. God bless them. They've done that pack and they sound marvelous. Go and have a look.
And I've even put a free one, and there's some free ones that I've done to put up there as well. And you can download those if you don't.
Yeah.
If you don't
There's a chap called John. What's he called? John Nathan Cordy, is it? Is that JNC? Yeah. Have a look at his channel. See what sort of a standard of player he is.
Pretty good.
Yeah, you say pretty, I say a couple of levels
yeah.
higher. Unbelievable. Really cracking player. And he references the patches that Paul and James put together as this stuff's tasty. And he's not being paid. There's no connection. I don't think these guys have ever met or interacted. He thinks they're blooming marvelous. If you want a decent third-party, independent review of what these guys put out, look at JNC. He's a wonderful musician. So if you're thinking Tone X, see what he reckons. Get yourself a Tone X. Give the Studio Rats boys a tenner and enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself for a long old time.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for the tip. Ned says, didn't TC Electronic do rack units? They must have done delay, but yes, they do.
We're being informed of this, aren't we? I was oblivious to it. As I say, rack isn't my thing.
But they're not analog. Just in case. I'm not bald. Am I welcome here? Why?
Justin, we're a broad church, Justin. Everyone is welcome.
I don't know why. That's almost like I'm not. Look, I don't get offended by anyone calling me bald. You can call me bald to my face. I don't mind. I don't know why it's got to be referenced on a message.
I think it's because I brought it to the equation tonight. I've referenced it a few times.
Maybe.
So it's just questioning, but you're very welcome, Justin. Absolutely. Obviously, we have to put the disclaimer in that if you're not bald, you must have a Mohican. Otherwise, you're not welcome.
Absolutely. Master One, Paul, you must be well chuffed with how well your match's capture has been received. It really is much, mate. Thanks from me, and I'm sure from many others. Cheers, mate. It's a pleasure. Mate.
That's one of the things that JNC was waxing lyrical about.
Well, that's the free one. Well, that's the free one. So if you want a better one, Jeff Caps, gents, have you tried the free neural app? Well, I still haven't done that. Just learned about it, and it seems pretty good. Yes, apparently.
Yeah, we talked about this last week whilst you were trying to get the bed in place and the wardrobes and all the rest of it, Paul. Yeah. The fact that and it's something that JNC had referenced himself and has done similarly since. The fact that it's gone from Kemper, a lot of money, to Neural, a lot of money, to Tone X, less than the price of or the equivalent price of a Tone X UA pedal, to you can just download the software for nothing.
Great.
Wowzers. Yeah. Worth JNC about that.
Yeah, Max says analog rack delay not seen since the 80s and 90s. JHS, John Hornby skews.
Yeah, rather than the block over in America.
Yeah. Paul Gardner, thanks, gents. We'll check out your recommendations. Probably use analog in wrong context. Gone back to stomp boxes from Helix. Need to cover delay.
Yeah.
There we go, mate.
Well, look, that's worth discussing another time then, Paul. As in Paul just commented. Let's try and put your perfect pedal board together next week, shall we?
There we go. Ned says, sorry, enter button on my mobile keyboard. Keep hitting it and posting incomplete questions. Screw. Haha. No problem, mate. Matt says, Distance on Studios. The jam pedal analog delays are fantastic as well. They sure are.
I would add to that, the jam, everything is brilliant. Last year when we were using that Quad Cortex, was it last year or the year before? Paul bought the Pink Floyd multi thing. What was it called?
Oh yeah, I've got it here. The Pink Flow.
Yeah, literally everything on it is all right. I'm kicking everything off my board for this. The jam pedal stuff is phenomenal. If your budget will stretch, get involved. You will not think twice about it once you hear it.
It's good. Hi Tim, hope you're well. Paul Gardner says, I'm also now intrigued by the Tonex chat. I guess the quest for tone is never ending. Enjoying the ride. Nice one. Cheers, Paul.
Yeah, nice one, Paul.
Centre for Wheelchair Pillow says, no particular reason for analog delay. I guess I like the analog delay pedals and wanted one in my first rack. Not terribly important. I really think the way to do it is to get a pedal and get a switcher.
Yeah.
Go to rack and it'd be great. That would be awesome. Tim says, I bought a DS1 Boss and I think it's poop.
Okay.
Yeah, it's they really work with certain amps. Let's put it that way. It's like a Tube Screamer. A Tube Screamer really works with certain amps. Doesn't work with other amps. Lord Branstey, TSR Independent. Sorry, yes. There we go. HK, any idea about a synth pedal that offers the deepest editing so I can get the most analog synth sound? Thanks. God, I'm not really into synth pedals, so
no idea. I'm afraid, HK. Sorry.
Check out the Electro-Harmonix ones.
Yeah, give that a whirl. There's about DS1 previous. Try just roll all of the gain off and use it as a boost. I know you've bought it to distort. See what you can find using it as a boost. That's what I've been using my DS1 for most recently.
Absolutely. Right, I need to go down because Rumi, cheers Rumi. He says, hi mates, gigged my Gibson R0 Les Paul and the pickup sounded so amazing.
Nice.
They're called custom backers. Are you fans of the custom backer? Who else makes a good path for you? Custom backers are fantastic. If you've got an R0 or an R8 or an R9, I wouldn't bother. You don't change pickups on those. They sound fantastic.
At that price, I wouldn't want to. Personally, I have never anything Les Paul'd. The only Les Paul guitar or type guitar I've got is the one upstairs under the bed, which I bought because I'm quite pleased with myself about this. So excuse my dalliance here. I clocked that somebody had bought a vintage guitars Les Paul copy during lockdown, thinking, I'll learn how to play guitar then. And then sold it for a pittance on eBay. And I've spent more on the wiring loom from Six String Supplies here in the UK and pickups from Fletcher Pickups, wonderful companies both. So I've spent more on the bits that go into the body of the guitar than the cost of the guitar itself. And it's great. That's just me being smug about myself. In terms of a good path for you, I will once again, as I did a week ago, point you in the direction of Monty's Guitars here in the UK and say he did some, what they called, Thingy Green. Is that place in London, Paul? Is it Finley Green?
Oh, I don't know.
But yeah, just look at Monty's Guitars in the UK. It's basically, he got hold of that Peter Green guitar that we were talking about that Kirk Hammett's making a couple of quid out of now. He got hold of the original. He tested the pickups, got the kind of impedance and all the rest of it out of them, and then reproduced the pickups. And he does them as his own set now. And I think Monty, in the same way that Josh from JHS is someone that just agitates the industry and makes good things happen. Go and look at what he does.
Okay, we need to steam through that. We need to steam through these.
I'll do this.
It's all right.
Fingers and lips.
It's all good. Jeff Caps, hello from Cleveland. Gents, have you tried? We just tried this. Yeah, sorry, that we just done that randomly. Hi guys, been experimenting swapping out various speakers with my family recently. Can't believe the difference they can make. I was going to buy a cab switching thingy. Cheers. Well worth doing.
Yeah, well worth a look.
What's that mean?
Well worth a look. The first valve or tube amplifier I ever bought cost me £130 on eBay, and I took the H&H speaker out of it, replaced it with a Celestion Vintage 30 and a set of cryo tubes from Watford Valves, and took it to a gig once in London town, and a couple of blokes that have done, amongst other things, the Brit Awards a few times, said, what amp's that? Because I took the Laney badge off it, a Laney sort of Vox copy, took the Laney badge off it and just put it out there, and we were doing a communal gig where everybody used the same gear, and I was there first, so we used mine. I said, what's this? Is it some sort of boutique handmade thing? So, no, bought it for 130 quid, but put a decent speaker in it. The difference that your amplifier will sound in terms of a new speaker is phenomenal. Well worth investigating, Johnny. Fill your boots, mate.
Absolutely. Lee, Greg, been turning up to gigs with a guitar and one rucksack for years now.
Top man, Lee.
Mendel says, Gibson also brought out the standard. Yes, we've done that. We looked at that. That was in the news. War Without Tribes. I watched a review of the Gibson USA version of the Greenie on the Play and Trade Guitars channel. The pickup sounded great, and it's a new set. I think the guitar is $3,000. Yeah, it's just over $3,000. Bobby's Guitar Music Room. Opinion on using pedal board with Katana 100 worth. Building one. Yeah, I mean, I think drive pedals are definitely better. You can have better drive pedals on your board than you're going to get as modeling the Katana. Dave Brose, in my world, that chick with the white wine also wants to sing a couple tunes.
Yeah, she does, Dave. Absolutely right, mate. Yeah. Or, I mean, at the very least, just dance around with a tambourine like Stevie Nicks.
Absolutely, yeah. And then when you get off the stage to have a break, she gets up on the drumstick.
Starts messing around with the faders on the mixing desk. I love her. She's wonderful. God bless Janine. Hello, Willie.
Willie Hard, mate. Hello, mate. Jeff Cap says, hello from Cleveland. Gents, have you tried everyone's talking about this. I've got to do a video on this.
Yeah. It's big, isn't it?
Mr. 40 Work, he's in the house.
We are joined by greatness.
Oh, joined by greatness. Hello, mate. Hope you're well. And thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. And thank you for your output. I love it.
Oh God, yeah, yes. I run to that podcast, as well as many others. Willie Hardmeat, where's Jimbo? Jimbo is over in LA at NAMM. I didn't want to go to NAMM this year, so James has gone instead. Actually, I did want to go, but I've just moved house, so
yeah.
I've got things to do. Mark Heath ordered a Tonix pedal a month ago, but still waiting. God, that's a month. That's crazy. Why is Jimbo standing bigging up JHS and their mega pricey ego, topping up Endeavours? Their stuff is well overpriced.
I wonder if I am Jimbo in James's absence. I think that the stuff that they're doing is, for what the effort they've put into it, is absolutely on point in terms of price.
Yes.
I understand that a Tonix pedal will give you a gazillion things for $400, $400, whatever, as opposed to $350 for a big box Electro Harmonix pedal. But look at the work that they've done to create that thing. I think they're well within their rights, especially when you look at some of the. I mean, crikey, how much is a Vemuran Tube Screamer clone? I say clone.
400 quid.
There you go. So something new from the 70s that can't be found for anything less than thousands of dollars from JHS for $350. I think they're well within their rights. Anyway, there we are. To each their own.
Before what says, I've got the original UA stuff. They were $399 dollars, and the new ones are $349. Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Boss RE202 is $419.
Okay, so that would be a great AP video, wouldn't it? The actual Boss reproduction against the UA reproduction.
Yes, it would be. Yeah, the RE202 is good. I did the launch video. That was good.
Everybody wants that, didn't they?
Paul Gardner says, and maybe I need the Del Verb.
So okay, so that's getting back to does it actually need to be analog, or is it just, do you want it to sound analog rather than it's a digital recreation?
Yeah. Football says, I'm really excited about the Galaxy delay. I don't like delay reverb single pedals. I'm weird like that. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm guessing you can switch around the order as well with the Del Verb, whatever it's called.
The UA video that I listened to on the journey back down from Yorkshire today suggested that if you download the phone app and all the rest of it, you get more switching and this, that, and the other, which makes me think, okay, do I need to have a guitar, an amplifier, my pedal board, and my phone in order to gig now? I'm not sure if that works or not, but yeah, if the sounds are that good, I'm prepared to throw my phone into the equation.
What were that, Tribes? Willie Hardmeat, he was talking about 3 Series pedals and the fact that Josh Guy does a good thing for the pedal industry. He does. He definitely does. Apparently, the Flaming Lips. The Flaming Lips have a really great song called The Gash.
Fair enough.
Willie Hardmeat, I meant the Lizard Green.
That's the pedal that I've ordered, yes.
Paul Gardner, definitely a Brit thing. Probably worse alternatives to Gash, though. Probably. Yeah, it could have been worse, couldn't it? It could have been worse. What were that, Tribes? Willie Hardmeat, that's Electro Harmonics, though, not JHS. David says, I bought the big box.
He's got one. Well done, mate. One of 1,000 people.
Yeah, I definitely want one, even if I never take it out of the box. I mean, it's one of those things. It's just it's a good investment.
Definitely. And I will go that much further. For those of you that haven't watched the JHS sort of release video that they did, the Daniel Danger, the guy that's been collaborating, has handwritten the receipt. So if you've got one of the 1,000, your name will be on it.
Nice.
And they've done that as a thing to avoid people flipping them, buying a few and flogging them at a wildly inflated price. It's really good.
Graham Rich 40 says maybe Stevie asked for Slash and his manager wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, fair.
Willie says I bought Line 6 M5 recently because of how good everyone says it is on YouTube, but it's not great, to be honest. I haven't tried the M5, no. I know you can upgrade it, can't you? You can change the converters in it, and apparently that improves things.
Is that the one that Uncle Larry uses?
Yes, I think it is.
Right.
With the converted, with the conversion on it. Max says I geared with S gear. Oh, nice. MacBook Pro and Focusrite 14 face. Look at that. Nice. Bobby's Guitar Music Room. I was thinking Creamback. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. That pedal show guys wax lyrical about the Creambacks for what it's worth. So if you're that way inclined, I think their even vague knowledge of that sounds nice means you should probably go for
it. 69 watching Tee. Guitar Sniffer Joe.
Yes, well, we were all there.
David, I don't use IEM, so the simplifier to the front of the house and the power section for the amp for a stage monitor.
Okay.
Great, but you don't really get a representation of what's going. You don't really know what's going out the front. That's anything for me. Okay. That's cool, Sniffer. Absolutely. Lord Bransley, I've not heard of the Jam pedals before. Could you give a quick description? Jam pedals are a company based in Athens in Greece.
Yep.
They make sort of boutique pedals. I've got a few. I've done a few videos for them. Really good, really good quality pedals.
Yep.
Really.
They do high quality copies of sort of the foundation pedal effects of yesteryear, and really good new stuff as well. And it's beautifully done, and it looks great. Well worth the money.
Yeah. Ridiculous Wonk just picked up a new pedal platform amp and now need to build a pedal board, starting with drive. Got any recommendations for a versatile dual drive? The Origin is a little rich for me, though. Yeah. My favorite drive is the Earthquake Devices Palisades.
That's not a dual drive, though, is it?
Yeah,
it's a single pedal.
No, it's dual drive.
Is it
with a boost as well?
Oh, that's it. Sorry, I'm thinking of what's the green one? The Tube Screamer that they could be.
It's not actually. Yeah, it's not actually Tube Screamer. I can't. Yes, I've got one of those as well.
Right. Yeah. Look at the thing that Paul has referenced there. Look at the. Let me point in the right direction. There we go. The Studio Rats did a Palisades video, which is a two switch thing. That's great.
Three switch.
Oh, it's great. You're right.
And it's great because it's got on it as well. It's brilliant. It's a really good.
Rich. I'll point you in the direction of to keep on point from the discussion tonight, the JHS Sweet Tea version 3, which is a JCM 800 on one side and a Tube Screamer on the other side. And you can switch the order that they go in. But with the Tube Screamer, you can also mix in the amount of original amplifier tone you get. So you got a wild amount of operation there.
Yeah, Sweet Tea's really sweet. Really good.
Yeah. And Paul, give me a steer on that Paul.
Pet says nothing to contribute tonight, lads. Sorry, listening on half speed. No problem, mate.
Pet, it's just a pleasure to have you here, brother.
Yeah. He said went to record some vocals earlier. Having the playback almost made me throw in the towel. Oh, mate, I know what you mean. That's just what happens sometimes. You just got to get back on the saddle.
Related, Pet. Literally this day last week, I thought I've done it. I've recorded the perfect YouTube video, and then listened back to it and said, no. And even the one that I put out, I'm not happy with it, but I just wanted to get something out. I understand. There is a perfectionist in you, Pet. Don't worry about it. Keep going, brother. Keep going.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. Rumi, have you ever paired a Mesa cab with a Marshall amp?
Nope.
No, I've never done that. I mixed a Mesa 2x12 with vintage 30s in my Silver Jubilee Mini. Nice. I used to pair a Marshall with Marshall speakers. Here's to experimentation. Absolutely, mate.
Riddle me this. What sort of 18 mil ply, marine ply, presumably, do Mesa use that's different to 18 mil marine ply that anybody else uses? What speakers are you putting into it? Did you say Celestion V30s, was it?
Yeah. Vintage 30s, yeah.
Right, yeah. So I'd be interested. Is it just the Mesa cab and those dimensions, or is it the speaker? Keep exploring. If it's a sound that works for you, brilliant. But I think there's a longer journey for you there. Keep going. You might have some fun.
Travis Nile says, "What amps are you guys running as mains right now?" I'm mainly using the Tone X, which isn't an amp; it's modeling amps. The amp, I'm trying to think, it's the only amp. Well, no, it's not the only amp I own, but my main amp is a Matchless Independence 35.
Travis, I'm using the Fender Deluxe Reverb Deluxe 2, or is it Deluxe Reverb 2? I can't remember. In essence, in the early 80s, what was he called? Paul Rivera went from working for Mesa to working for Fender and did a selection of amplifiers. And what's your man called from Vertex Effects?
Mason
Marangella. waxy lyrical about the amps that they were created there at that time. Wonderful things. And that clean channel just sounds like the original because it is literally the same circuit. But the dirty channel, if you set it to clean on the verge of breakup, ka-ching, in the absence of jivey, it just sounds great. Sounds great. Somewhere on the YouTube, the Studio Rats channel, you will find a short video of Paul playing through that amplifier in the Manchester, what's it called? Is that place in Manchester we go to?
I don't know, big arena in Manchester. Big,
yeah. Used to be called the GMEX. Now it's called Manchester Central. There you go. And it was just a massive open room with that amplifier, which is 60 watts output, just going like the clappers, and it sounds monster. So yeah, that's my one for choice. There we go. Yeah. Hope that helps, Travis.
Ned says affordable.
Yeah, good. Smaller, beautiful thing.
It has a boost. Sounds great. More transparent tube screamer. It's a green single overdrive mentioned plumes. It's exactly the plumes. Thanks, mate. I've got to go to Pet. Thank you, sir. He said, "Living with perfectionism will be the ruination of me." Cheers, lads. Keep going, mate. You're doing well. You sound great.
Focus on the positives, Pet. The fact that you want to be better is not negative. Don't let it drag you down. Keep looking for the positives, my friend.
Absolutely. And Jonathan said, last question, he says, part 2, in your experience, is this something that can happen? I think you missed the question there, mate. Jonathan, come on next week, mate, and ask us. I think something's got lost somewhere. The neck and frets are great. Too pecky.
The nut isn't far out. The neck and frets are great. Is that one of... I don't
know what's going on. I don't think
Jonathan got one of those jet guitars, perhaps? The nut isn't far out. The neck and frets are great.
Ask us next week, mate, or send us an email or something. Right, we are done. It's gone 10 o'clock.
Has it really? Good Lord.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for joining us. I'm Paul from Studios.
I have been not James Ivy because he's in Anaheim. I apologise for not being James Ivy, but it is my privilege to sit in for either of these two chaps when they are not available. And I hope I don't let the side down in their absence. Thanks for joining us, guys. Hope you have a great week, and we look forward to the live edition on Saturday.
It could be Saturday.
Yes. Look out for the notification which will appear on your YouTube feed saying that the Saturday live edition from NAMM in Anaheim will occur at a time that works for some people, but not others. I'll be there. James will be there. Paul will be sat there going, "Oh, blimey, Charlie, what's going on?"
Absolutely.
And there we are.
Cheers, guys. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
All the best. See you now. Bye-bye.